welcome back to the Better Men, Better Ball Player podcast. I'm your host, Trey Cobb. I want to thank you for joining us for our 40th episode. And thrilled to bring in another Maryland guy, local guy, coaching at my alma mater, St. Goretti High School, Coach Greg Eversole. Coach Greg Eversole. Those guys that don't know him, this is actually his second tour of duty at St. Goretti High School. In 1978, he was a Blue Ridge champion. They won the Blue Ridge Championship, and this is his 7th year. So in between there, he spent 15 years at South Hagerstown High School as a head coach. He also spent some time at North Hagerstown High as well, under Chuck Zonas, another great coach. So St. Mary Goretti, 2017, they won the Old Line League Championship. Dating back before that, at South High during his time, he actually retired from South High in 2002. Took some time away, and Goretti brought them back. And this is his 7th year leading the Goretti program, which he's turned him, like what he talks about in the podcast, as a competitor that was used to be a participant, and now they've become a competitive program, and they're trying to get to become the next step, which is much more recognized and becoming more of a hunter instead of hunted. And we'll get into more of that in the podcast, and you'll hear some of that from him. But Coach Eversole is also known for bleeding the green at South Hagerstown High School. He was there for 15 years. 95, they were conference champions. 95, they were state finalists. 96, they were conference championships. And 96, they were also, that's when they first won the first school state championship in baseball in 1996. And 1997, of course, then he was district coach of the year, coaching our all-state game at Camden Yards. And, was been county coach of the year. He's been conference coach of the year. He's actually in the Hagerstown Community College Hall of Fame, as well as being the Frostburg State University Alumni Coach of the Year. And just has a great resume, just a great baseball guy. He's given his life to the game. Loves to just give instruction for free, help out kids wherever he can. And just typically you see him in the summertime. He's just watching a game somewhere. Yes, it might be with his grandkids at a time, but for the most part, he's going to be somewhere watching a baseball game. So, Coach Greg Eversole, we have a great conversation just about his culture of how he's created there at Goretti. This second time through, differences between public school and high school, what he's kind of seen, and just how the game has maybe changed. Probably practice. He talked about practices changed, what they're doing now based on what they didn't have to do earlier in his career. So you're talking about lessons learned through a guy that's, again, given his life to the game. He talked about how his father played, and his father was able to pass down lessons to him, and now he's trying to, again, pay it forward to pass down that same knowledge to the next generation. And just really pleased to, glad we could make it happen, and want to introduce to you and enjoy the great episode with head coach at St. Mary Goretti High School in Hagerstown, Maryland, Coach Greg Eversole.
When I took over the South Hagerstown High School program in, I think it was 1988, 1989, I have to look, it was a program in disarray. It was a spring sport activity.
Sure.
And that's the way the kids approached it. And I can remember our first game, we were getting ready to play Smithburg, who had just come off of a very successful season with the Baked Boys, and I forget who else on that. And I'm giving my rah-rah speech of, we're going to play them hard. And a boy by the name of Mike Kidd, that was our first baseman, he's about 6'6" basketball player, put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Coach, settle down. We play Smithburg today. We get beat." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "You can watch us get beat because you were the starting first baseman. Now you're going to watch us get beat, but we're not going to get beat. We're going to give it our all." And that was groundwork for where we started. And from there, right, you have to set a mindset. And I thought it would take 4 years to turn a program around at a public school like that. It took 5. It took a whole cycle of kids that become mine plus one. My mindset, how we wanted to do things, how coaches wanted to do things, just getting our facility, uniforms, just making the kids feel like it's a program instead of a team. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I know this is one of your, big, and now you're taking over Goretti. And well, this is what, year 6?
This was 214. So, with COVID year, it's harder. This will be year 7, I believe.
So you're 7 with COVID. So
COVID,
like this would really be like if we get to play this spring, it'll be your full 6th.
And in taking over the Goretti team, I was asked to come to Goretti. I did not search out that.
Right.
Having just retired from public education, friend came knocking at the door. Harry Turner said, "We'd like for you to come over to Goretti and help us rebuild a program." I said, "No way. I've had my turn. I had been out since 2002, and I thought, Harry, I don't want to get back into this, even though I love the game." I was sitting down at the front end helping Ed Kite, just sitting on the bench teaching kids the game, why we did things, why you do things the way you do. He said, "No, we need you. We really need you." And it took a month of negotiating with David Blackstone at Goretti for me to say yes. And all along, my wife was saying, "You're going to do it. You're going to do it." And being my biggest encourager, which you need as a coach.
Yeah. Amen. Amen.
I took the program there. I told her, I'm not going to raise money. I'm not going to do field work. And they want me to coach. I'm just going to coach. I'm not going to, I don't want to deal with parents. And, lo and behold, 7 years later, we're dealing with it all. And we've taken a team and now have, I think, a very respectable program in here. But it was
for sure.
Same kind of mindset at South that we had at Goretti. It was a spring sport activity. And when May 10th rolled around, the kids were ready for prom and move on and other activities. And now we're, functioning 365 days a year as some aspect of our program.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So like, what are some of so how has, because there's been a big culture, change, and I think it's still coming because even like, when I talk to people about, Goretti has a chance to be I think the best team in our county, and that still is even in our county, like, wow, the county must be down or the county this. Like it's still getting to that point. Like how are you able to change people's mindset of what Goretti baseball is?
It takes a lot of ingredients. It's just not. It's a head coach with a vision that people buy, the thought that the direction I'd like to take that. It takes parents who realize what we're trying to do for their sons, not just win baseball games. And that's the side light. It's have a program where we build these boys' characters, teach them how to be dedicated and make sacrifice. But it takes parents who, and when you're at a private school, it takes funding. Goretti is not blessed with a lot of funding.
Uh-huh.
And, to have good equipment, you can excite kids with good equipment, good uniforms. And it took us a while to the point where we just kind of struggled till we found a group of kids that actually came to play basketball at Goretti, and they all ended up playing baseball because they realized they weren't the type of basketball player that Coach Miller was looking for. And that was the Bryant Shives and Brock Penns, Luke Odell's, Seamus Murray's. They really turned the program around and saw that we could play small ball and be successful. We weren't tremendously strong, but we tried to keep fundamentally sound. And from that, people were like, "Oh, what's going on at Goretti? What's going on at Goretti?" Things. They're playing good baseball. They're moving kids on to college. This is what we want. But you always have that underlying factor. It takes quite a few $1,000s to go to Goretti.
Sure.
And parents. But couple that with, I've had a couple good parents, and Mike Murray and Craig O'Connor adopt us financially. Kerry Malloy was another gentleman that was with us, and his son left the program because of COVID and other situations. That we've been able to make great facility improvements. And I think if we would have been able to have the 2020 season and what we had done to the field and the group that I could put on the field, it would have really given us a boost to attract those people in Washington County. Say, hey, yeah, Goretti is a fine program. So we'll hope and keeping our fingers crossed that we can put all this on the table here in another couple months.
Yeah, let's hope, man, because it'll be a shame if not, to go 2 years without doing something. But I know Goretti, I know Dave, and I think they'll do what they can. Well, that might be having to travel some, I think we'll do what we can for sure. Hopefully you guys can. And it's just, It's been great. It's been great to watch. Just being a Goretti alum and things like that. But just even overall, just seeing it's great for our county. Just thinking about, um, you're having to go in now, and you had a huge experience at South Hagerstown. You were a public school educator, and now here taking this tour. Getting ready to where you were in a private school. What can you say is what do you like? What do you dislike about the difference between public and private school?
Well, I think there's different parameters for each entity. Public is, the state has so many rules around what a season is, what the coach can do with the player, where they can travel. Goretti, I'm unlimited. I had an opportunity to go back to North. I was asked to leave Goretti, go back to North. I said, why would I give up everything I have to go back to public school when I can travel to Myrtle Beach in the spring tournament? I can play, public wise, if you play 25 games, that means you've won a state championship.
Correct.
At Goretti, I can play 25 games or plus. I don't have to worry where I'm traveling. And I think Maryland now, you must stay in the state of Maryland. There's just a lot of restrictions as to what you can do with your boys in and off season. However, both, it depends on where you are in your position of life. South worked for me because I was a public educator.
Right.
My first tour of duty at Goretti, I was young and dumb. I didn't have a reputation. I hadn't proven myself yet. People liked how I worked with kids, but there were super strong high school programs, and Goretti baseball was not the thing. Cookie Robertson was building a powerhouse basketball program, and Goretti was known as the basketball school. Mm-hmm. Jim Martin ran good soccer at Goretti. They had other sports, but it was a basketball school.
Sure.
But after having a successful tour duty at South, where we, like I said, took the program from participant to a competitor to recognized across the state, I had credibility coming into Goretti, and it was like, oh, he's back. We thought he was tired. We thought he was done, and the good Lord blessed me with opportunities to come back, health, support, and we just have turned things around, and it's exciting. I'm just very disappointed when you get to show all that we put together for last spring.
Yeah, well, soon now. Hopefully, we get to see it this year. So I would agree. We just with private school and public school. Are you seeing anything like now you've been this is like I said seventh year. You're talking to been 7 years talking to everyone as you're recruiting kids. Has anything changed in the last 7 years? I know you guys are getting better. And he said, but like have.
The culture at Goretti since we've demolished the old building and our new site, we've gone through some growing pains. People wondering why. It's the transition of teachers, transition of administration, and it's been a battle past couple of years, but I think Dr. Storch has really got the pieces falling together, and their vision of what Goretti's going to become, especially with the athletic area. I don't know if the public knows it, but that athletic area is to become a turf field for lacrosse and soccer. Mm-hmm. That would be powerful and garnering kids to come there to play those two sports.
Sure.
I know they work hard for lacrosse. I know Coach King works hard for soccer, as well as pieces of the puzzle for Goretti are being put into place. We just have to get through this tough time of life we're all experiencing, and just do the best we can with the little bit we have, and the best will happen.
Sure.
You got to think that.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. So yeah,
the other thing, Trey, I have, when we recruit, I just don't recruit a good baseball player. I recruit a person. We check out grades. As soon as I get a name, having been an educator in the county, there's not many principals I can't call and say, tell me about so-and-so. So when I make a recommendation to admissions of a player that would like to come, they know I'm recommending a pretty good student. I'm real proud to say that of our 22 baseball players, first quarter this year, 19 of the 22 were 3.0 or better.
Right.
And we take pride in what we're doing in the classroom. 4 of them are National Honor Society with a couple younger boys that will probably become National Honor Society students in the next year or so. So, putting that together academically as well as athletically is what we're trying to do at Goretti.
Sure. That's important. It's a great education, and I just wonder, like, is it selling any different now? And what I mean by that, I guess, with COVID, has COVID helped you? Like, has COVID helping private schools? Like, and you think that?
David Blackstone had an initial thought that because Goretti would be, they're running a hybrid mix of classes right now. He thought maybe more private or public school kids would come over. I don't think we've seen that.
Okay.
It's still an expense. There was a knock at the door in September of quite a few kids that, can we come for a semester? And then once we get out of COVID and maybe get back, then they would return to their school. And the school said, no, we wouldn't want a full year commitment, which is quite a few $1,000s.
Sure.
So people backed off there. There has not been a big rush. People are unemployed. People are wondering where their dollars are coming from.
Sure.
So I think everybody's safeguarding, waiting for this thing to turn around. Hopefully next year this time things have turned around and we start to find a new normal, if that's a term, and we have things in place at Goretti, especially for the baseball program, that becomes attractive after a good season here in 21.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the 365 days, man. Let's get into a little bit, like, so, like, what when you've taken, like you said, I love how you talk about being a participant to be a competitor and then being state recognized. It's a great way of saying it. And so what's that process look like? So what does your timeline look like?
Well, we have our regular season. It usually starts the last week of February, ending somewhere May 10th, May 15th, depending on whether we have a league playoff. Last year we didn't, or 2 years ago we didn't have a league playoff because things disbanded. And then our players will reach out to their travel teams. I kind of let them go. They reach out to their travel teams. I encourage them to play somewhere, trying to take a head count. Are you playing? If you're really going to play for us next spring, you need to be playing somewhere. We're not just a participant that you show up in the spring and expect to be a starter. You need to prepare yourself. Our kids will leave in the spring, travel ball. They quite a few. I think we had maybe 9 or 10 Funkstown Legion players last year. And the year before, we were well populated on the Junior Legion and the Senior Legion. We come back as a melting pot in the fall, where I blend in our freshmen, our younger kids, our transfers that have come in, and we play fall ball. We run a fall ball program with area teams from West Virginia, Frederick County, Scotland campus out of Pennsylvania, playing about 14 to 16 games, depending on weather, which takes us to the end of October. I'm a believer in that since these boys have started in February, and it's now the end of October, and they've probably been playing baseball, their body has to rest. So we take October off. And this year, in working with some parents and talking to them, we started our first ever weight training program for our players.
Awesome.
Where we're paying for them to attend Elite Performance Institute twice a week under a skilled trainer designed around baseball, agility, speed, strength training. And then in January, we'll go 2 nights a week and have our hitting workouts. So, by the time 1st of March rolls around, we pretty much are ready to hit the field and we'll get back to playing defense, and our bats are ready to explode. So the kids pretty much commit themselves to that. However, we do, if we have people that want to play basketball or other sports, I believe that being a multi-sport player is still what a high school kid has to do. So if they do not make our 365 days, they still participate with us when they get back because they're athletes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with a EPI, so like they go and work out at EPI, and that's something that's covered within the program, or is that something extra that they're gonna?
This is the first year. We've been, like I said, we've grown to the point where people are recognizing what we're doing. And people are coming to me saying, what do you want next for your program? And,
awesome.
How can I help? And as I said, Mike Murray really supports us beyond what the school can give us. And that's very limited because of the funding at Goretti.
Sure.
And Craig O'Connor recognizes we do some fundraisers. We just finished a Crumpy's Donut fundraiser, selling 400 donut certificates that raised the money to pay for this winter workout. So this is at no cost to the players. But up until this year, I might charge the kids $25, $30 to cover the expense of that hour. And we've gotten to the point where financially we're sound enough to say, all right, we're taking care of you, which parents are really appreciating because they're putting up so much money to attend Goretti. Why beat them up and say, well, I need 20 here for this, 20 here for that. If we can do fundraising and get that together and make that happen for them, we've been able to do that. So it's kind of exciting to see it go from that first year team where I had 12 kids of maybe 2.5 of them could really play baseball,
right,
to 22 kids, and this year it's 9 seniors, and probably six of those would like to go on and play collegiately if they can find the right place.
Well, that's great. Now, will you like to? I'm just thinking of like just the weightlifting program, So, will you? I know there's one thing that I think I look back on and saying, how can we try to lift and get these kids stronger in high school? And so do they have the opportunities, at Goretti to be able to lift? Are you finding ways to be able to do that? Is that really just in the winter?
You're familiar with Goretti, and the stage area there is a weights there. It's not a great, but I think kids need instruction to do it properly.
Sure.
I'm not skilled in that. During my playing time, I didn't worry about lifting weights. It was not even encouraged. You were discouraged from lifting weights. I mean, you just played. You threw and you hit and you ran and you played.
Right.
And coming back from 2002, now it's all about weight training. Even though at South, I tried to encourage my athletes to weight train. It was a battle. I don't know whether you found that out at Smithburg, but it was a battle. But those who left the program after graduation and went to college would come back and say, Coach, why didn't you make me weight train? I said, you wouldn't let me hog tie you to a barbell, let alone weight train. I tried to encourage that. But I think there comes a commitment from the player of how do I want to get better? And we know today the better athletes are bigger, stronger, and faster. And when players recognize that and make that commitment, then their success in the spring. Good example, that was Seamus Murray. From his freshman year to his senior year, he discovered the weight room prior to his junior year and really became a nice junior-senior player for us as a first baseman. Totally changed his body structure, totally changed his back. He became quicker, bigger, and stronger. It is a good example of personal commitment by a baseball player. But again, it's not. And the coach has got to be the encourager, but the player has to have some time in their life where I want to commit to this. I really want to be a player. And we know, looking at players across the United States, those who move ahead are the ones who have made that commitment, get bigger, stronger, and faster, and have committed to good travel programs, good instruction, good camps, and realize there's great baseball players in this United States of America, all over the 50 states and all the territories.
Yes, there are. I just, I always, this is you'll be number 40. I've been fortunate enough to have 40 conversations with some really good coaches, good friends, mentors, and a common thing you just hear, very common thing is the adaptability and being able to adapt yourself, being open to new ideas, just being a learner. Basically, if I'm adaptable, I'm a learner. And it seems like, like you just said, when I was a player, we didn't do anything. This wasn't worried about. Now we're paying our kids to even go through it. Like, you ain't got to worry about. We're going to pay you to have a trainer to do it. Is this something that you've always had? Like, is that a trait that, to be a learner, to be adaptable? Because I know you still have a lot of things that you hold true that you've done since day one of coaching, but there's also things that you've, like the weight training, like you're fully into that when you used to never be into that. What are some of those things that, that you've shown that you can definitely tell that you are a learner. You continue to learn and try to get better. And then there's other things that you just kind of hold true.
Well, I think every coach finds those things that make them successful. But you have to add to that. You can't come up with that ribbon of success and it just goes everywhere. That ribbon has to turn and twist and meander a little bit. And you got to listen to the gurus out there that say, because of technology, because of science of the kinesiology that they're looking at baseball players, you've got to have an ear open. As a public school educator, middle school math teacher, I taught out of the box. I came up with things that were creative, that wanted to grab the attention of my students, to make them want to do math. My job was to make them love to do math. And I think it's the same with the baseball player. I can't just sit and say, this is the way we do things. Each year, I try to find, what do I need to do differently? And the weight training came up this year. What do I need to add to our program to make us better? When a prospective candidate sees that we now added weight training and we have winter workouts and we have a fall ball schedule, that makes it tough to turn down as compared to going to a public school if they so choose that. Even though I don't want to put public school, there's great public school programs, and I don't want, my goal is not to pull kids from those programs unless they want to, basically, as eighth graders. Even though we've had some people transfer from public school programs that this is not working for me. I'd like to come over to Goretti, and we blend them in. But as a coach, ending in 2002 and coming back in 2014, what a world of difference of what my practice has to be. Even though we had a very structured practice itself, but you have to be very skill oriented. You really, because the kids aren't getting the instruction as thoroughly as I would like coming out of summer play, you really have to be a teacher first and coach second.
Are you talking about? Are you like? Is that first statement? Are you saying that's how it is now?
Yes.
Than what it was in 2002?
You're right.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's the instruction. You're familiar with the Pony League.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to bust on Pony League, but the Pony League backbone has been broken by travel ball. The elite players are looking to create that tournament type weekend pretty much every weekend when they travel that they used to get through All-Star play. When I played in the Pony League, there were 2 divisions of 10 teams.
Yep.
Quality teams. We had to beat each other to get out of town. The instruction at that point from the old codgers that I grew up around that instructed me really taught us how to play the game of baseball. And now what's Pony League down to 6 to 8 teams? Coach Berger's really working his tail off trying to make the league go. It's struggling getting quality players because they're playing travel ball. So being travel ball, everybody says, well, you're going to get great instruction. I'm not seeing that as a golden rule. So the type of instruction we have to do to make sure we're doing it, and you heard me use the term the Goretti way, this is how we want to do things. And we have to take time to teach that.
Well, I think that's what makes you a great teacher. I think as all good teachers, and I had to have this conversation with my teammates in our department, and you hear a lot of as a good teacher, you just don't assume anything.
Exactly.
you can't assume that they know how to put their name on the paper. You can't assume that they know how to field a ground ball. You can't assume that they know how to hold the bat. You can't assume they know how to get taken out of a ball game. So yes, and if you want it done a certain way, you got to teach those things. And I think that just shows yes, you're trying to run a program, so we're going to do it this way. Now, so another question, and I guess that will stem from that is, do you feel like at that time, because I think that's such an incredible response, because I feel like, because another part of what you were saying is kids now have personal hitting coaches, personal pitching coaches, and they've got all these different things. So if I'm paying, typically they're getting that instruction. So what's changed there? You know what I mean?
Well, it goes back. That goes back to why our fall ball is so successful. I call our fall ball season our time to meld together. They come from their different travel balls, and that travel ball team is going to do things defensively this way, or they talk about their hitting philosophy this way. And then we come to Goretti. It takes us those 16 games to get ready for spring for them to understand this is how we're going to do it, Goretti. And I tell them there's some things because of our physical strength defensively, I'm choosing to do that. If I were a college coach and I had an outfielder that had a big, strong, booming arm, I probably wouldn't do it that way. But for Goretti, when we walk on that field defensively, I want our players to know where to be, what their responsibilities are to create the success and minimize the amount of errors. So we do things the Goretti way. But I tell them, when you leave me, you got to play for the coach you go play for. But the things we're doing are sound and will work. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Goretti way. Let's talk about that. Like, so well, first off, especially because you've done 2 tours, a huge tour at South High, and now you're halfway through with Goretti. Are those kind of similar? Like, are those like your way? Like, was South High way the similar to the Goretti way, or has it kind of melded? Have you kind of adapted some things?
The South High way, as I said, there's things that a coach has that he knows if you get your players to that will bring success. That I brought along. I always used the term at South High in the early 90s, mid 90s, boom line drive. And our focus in hitting was boom line drive. We wanted to hit the ball hard. So it sounded like the ball coming out of a cannon when it came off the bat. That if it was hit at some shortstop, what's a shortstop at the high school level going to do if that has that boom sound? They're going to get out of the way, unless they're a superb defensive player. So this term boom line drive, I've always used in our hitting philosophy at Goretti is we want to hit the ball hard. We're not home run hitters. I don't have kids that can power the ball like some of these big high school programs, but we can learn to hit the ball hard. We at South and at Goretti, we talk about a quality at bat. I'm a firm believer in a 5-pitch at bat, and we get into great discussions of should you hit the first pitch in high school baseball? If it's there, yes. But if you hit that first pitch, it ought to be 2 things: a boom line drive at somebody, something that's hit hard, or you find yourself on base somewhere. Can you make out on the first pitch hitting a boom line drive? Yeah, if you've done that. But if you're trying to take bad pitches and make boom line drives, you can't hit a bad pitch into a boom line drive, if you understand our hitting philosophy. So we have a hitting philosophy, and then we have our defensive philosophy, how we play the outfield. Another thing is, our rule is if a ground ball gets by an outfielder, most coaches will say outfielder gets the ball and throws the ball the longer throw to the relay man. We kind of go the other way. We talk about the distance of where the ball is to where the base is, and we'll do 75-25. That first throw should be a short, quick throw, and let the second throw be a longer throw. And we find we can be more accurate with that. Would I do that if I were a college coach? No way. You have those outfielders at the collegiate level that have the arms that can make that. So
yeah, they're just good enough ball players. But yeah, your middle infielders are going to be your better players for sure.
Right. So we want to we want to get to the ball quickly. We want to get it to that relay man quickly, and then let him make the stronger of the 2 throws. And as you said, your middle infielders, your shortstop, second baseman are probably your better arms.
Sure.
It's been successful for that. We've been successful with that.
That's good. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I mean, I'm just so looking at you're a teacher. You're a teacher at heart, and retired educator, great math teacher. People would come and watch you teach and things like that. And so, let's walk us through a practice, man. Like let's talk about some practice stuff that's the things that you love. You love to teach. You love to be there. You love to be helping kids out. You're doing camps and you continue to be active. It's just you love to teach. So walk us through some of the things you just love to do at practice.
First of all, I just want to make things fun. I want practice to be enjoyable for players. I don't want it to be a drudgery. When we do our isometrics and we do our beginning workouts to prepare to play, we'll play music. We'll put music in the background just to set a tone. Another thing I picked up, I went to Florida one spring and saw the Boston Red Sox run. And every coach, I think, around here will run poles in the spring. All right, guys, you got 4 poles to do. We don't run poles at Goretti. We run arc runs. And I watched the Red Sox. They would start behind the arc at the infield and pair up and do a slow jog across the back of the infield from first to third, walk across the infield, do that 3 times. And then the 4th and 5th time, they would have what I call a rabbit chase. One guy chases the other. We come back the 5th time, and the other guy chases the other. And we have little competitions. And I will stagger their starts to make it competitive. So if somebody slower or faster, they have a chance to catch them in their rabbit race. Then we we'll go to skill drills. I have good coaches. Eric Poole takes care of our outfield. Nick Moats and Rodney Young take care of the infield. We break down into skill play, and we'll do an infield outfield for communication, and then into situations. Very rarely do I take batting practice during a practice. Batting practice is something I think a player should find time on their own. Time in the spring is very limited because of the time and coolness of the weather. So getting that time on the field, preparing to play defense is the best. But we break down, and I was just talking to a prospective candidate today about this old man. I can't hit fongos anymore. I can't throw batting practice anymore. And it's important to get kids to do things for me that I'd like to do. I'm the instructor. So we do what's called a 4-way infield, which involves hitting, fielding, and throwing. Mm-hmm. So I did this at Goretti at one time. We taught kids how to hit fongos with a backhand toss. Of my 12 players, one of them could do it. Coach, I can't backhand toss in a fongo. I have to fronthand toss. So we've got it to the point now where all of our kids can backhand toss, and it's a hitting drill. So we're hitting, there's 4 stations across the infield where they're hitting ground balls, fielders are fielding, and kids have fun with that. And then when we do our base running situations, we should try to make it fun. Just, every once in a while we sneak in set up home plate behind second base and have home run derby with mush balls. Let the kids swing. It's fun. And all of our team conferences before a game is like, let's play hard, but when the day's done, can we say we've had fun? And that's our biggest goal, to give these kids memories. That's what high school baseball should be about. And those that go on, it separates the men from the boys. I mean, when you go to a college program, it's 24/7, as you know. They're really intense when they go on. So, our practices are fun.
Yeah, trying to get. Well, it's also we'll have certain goals, I think, and then like I like to say, and I forget where I heard this, but it's one of the best questions at the beginning. We all set goals, and we all want to have great things, but if you can't reach those goals, what kind of experience do you want to have? And that's what it really comes down to. I think you're trying to develop a good experience for your kids.
Right. And that's what, those stories get out to our prospects, and they hear that and they go, oh, I want to be a part of that. Another thing I found that I've tried to do in changing culture, since we were talking about that earlier, is to have a word or phrase for each year that kind of resonates through the season. And back when we were young and not as talented, it was like, pick up your buddy. If we make an error, go pick him up. Nobody wants to make errors, but it happens. So we went from there to do the little things. We got confident. Are you doing the little things? Are you personally doing little things? Because if you do your little things and the other player does his little things, they all put together, we can be successful. And then we get into the word routine. What routine? When you get out of school at the end of the school day, and from the time you put your uniform on, what is your routine to get ready to come to play a game? Or what is your routine to come to practice? What is your routine at a game and preparing before the game starts? What routines do you have? We really emphasize that. Every player should have routines. And then last year we were working on perception. We had gotten to the point where we were the everybody would play Goretti because you could play Goretti and beat Goretti. Now you play Goretti. I remember the team that came up from West Virginia or Virginia. They wanted to play us opening day, and it was you could tell they were going to be 1-0 when they walked out of Goretti. They have not returned a phone call to play again. We beat them, and it was very satisfying because we were prepared. We had our routine and our perception. So our perception is that we are now not the hunted, but we want people to come get us. And we're still not quite ready to play the bigger schools. I don't have the strength. We're getting there, and I think the next couple of years will be that difference. So playing those big, stronger schools like Jefferson, who have 2,000 kids compared to like 200 kids. And,
right.
But it's the whole process has been fun.
Oh, for sure. just being able to see something grow in front of your eyes, I'm doing the work, and it's great. But yeah, like you said, it definitely takes some good relationships. Those people, O'Connor's a great man. Great man, that guy. Loves Goretti for sure. And
Goretti alumni to his heart and soul, and he has a son that has worked hard to be a participant, a competitor. Very proud of Owen. For him to. Did I lose you, Trey?
No, I'm good.
All right, let me. I've lost your video. Let me get the video back.
I can see you.
All right, there we go. Owen probably would not be a baseball player in another high school program. Owen probably throws a 55-mile-an-hour fastball. I don't know if you saw Owen pitch at the Legion a couple summers ago.
Mm-hmm.
He believes in what he does, and he knows if he keeps the ball low, that everybody's going to be swinging over top of the ball, and he just loves his style of pitching. Does he see himself playing collegiately? No way. But is he making some great memories for a high school career? Absolutely. His dad is so proud of him and what he's been able to do.
Mm-hmm. Sure. That's awesome.
So that's what's unique about some of the things that happen with players that I have. That some of our freshmen, when they come in, they think they're going to play varsity baseball, and then they realize they're 14 playing against 18-year-old, and how we do things. It's an eye-awakening experience for dads. And they're learning to be patient with that.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had quite a few kids in our program where they have been able to play. If they had gone to the high school where they should have gone to publicly, they probably would not have played, and have matured working through the process and through this 365-day, 12-month program. Kyle Corley's another has really become a very respectable second baseman, making good memories. So that's what's fun. It is making that high school memory. That they can look back and say, I played.
Oh, for sure.
And hopefully they'll be a coach someday. Maybe they'll have a son and know there's a right way to do that. That's the other magical thing. I just hope I'm passing it and paying it forward with these kids as they come back and help their sons, and if that's their son, the other sons.
So like thinking about that, like passing it down, like, so what kind of things, like, you think about your legacy, here you are, what do you want to be, passing down, and people remember you, all the time you led green and with South Hagerstown, and like, what are the things that you want these kids to be remembered and passing down?
Well, it's being this age and having this experience is very humbling, and players that have reconnected. I was not a Facebook person until I retired from teaching. I didn't want to be associated with that and the connections that could happen. Well, I'm really not a great social media person, but dabble enough to be dangerous.
That's right.
I had a young man, just to share this story with you. The year after we won our state championship, I had a young man that the night before our season was to start, I was called into the administrator's office and say, there's these 4 players will not be able to play this season. They received a citation, and Washington County says that they can't play athletics. Coach, you can't say anything. I'm just telling you this. And it's amazing. Last year, this time, one of those players apologized to me for creating that situation. He carried it from 1997 to 2019 and apologized. And I said, don't worry about it. I said, it was a great life lesson for you. It made you a better person. Sometimes we have to go through failure to become better. But that was like, wow, very humbling to know that young man carried that until he had an opportunity and was strong enough and forward enough to say, Coach, I'm sorry. And we and I stayed Facebook friends. We touched base, through the holidays and different events. So the kids you have that on your teams that go on to be principals, teachers, businessmen. A young man that played for me at Goretti by the name of Tony Panettiere is a doctor at Walter Reed Army Hospital, and he's treating soldiers that come back from the Middle East with PSTD. And he had me down to, he touches base. It's just so humbling. And I guess the legacy I'm going to leave is that I help kids, and they look at me as, I don't want to say a father figure, but somebody that just is interested in them and supportive of them. And if they need to cry on my shoulder, I'm there. It's just not all about baseball. It's about life. And, I know that's a storyline you probably heard from every coach. It's about life. We're teaching life. And there's so many.
Only from the great ones, Coach.
It's what it's about. It's not about, yeah, we've won some championships, but I've also been to the bottom of the valley. My first year at South, we were, I think, 3-13. I think of those 13 losses, 14 of them were by 14 run rule.
Yeah.
But we survived that. We kept the fort together and moved forward and built a nice program with recognized across the state. And the same things happened at Goretti. I can remember our first year, we go down to Easter tournament with Williamsport Wildcats in South Hagerstown High School. And we have to play Williamsport first game. And I throw a little kid that has a little curveball, and Dave Warnfeld's dad, David, is sitting out in right field, and we won that day. He said, never expected that. I said, I didn't either. We just came in, just played simple baseball, threw the curveball across the plate. So, those memories like that, and the legacy of having those stories that those kids can share in their life with their kids. I'm a simple man. My time's moves on. I hope good Lord says, nice job, good job. We gave you the opportunity, and you took care of it for kids.
Yeah. You're doing a great job with it, Coach. That's for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, it's, and like, is there anything that you'd like to hang your hat on? Anything that you'd love to just get off and just touch base and talk about that we've never really touched base about?
No, my life, as I said, I'm an old West End of Hagerstown boy that
Me too.
was raised simple from the West End of the league. I was going to share with you a story that here was my story of exit velocity and launch angle. I'm 8 years old. I'm trying out for my first little league team, and it got down to myself and another player, and the coach said, "Go put your hand on the sign in center field. I'm going to drop my hat. First one to touch home plate makes the team." I think I had the best exit velocity that day and the launch angle off that fence because I won by one step. So it's fun to reflect back, and that was back in 1958 to be able to. I was a kid who didn't know how to catch, throw, or every time somebody threw a ball to me, my dad would duck. But it all goes back to a legacy that my dad started. He played a little minor league ball, was a good athlete in the county, and worked with me, and was able to see me coach 1 year at South Hagerstown High School before he passed on. So I've been very fortunate, very blessed to be at South, be at North a little bit, be at Goretti twice. And mess around the pony league, mess around the colt league, and just to mess around the camps and help kids with their skills that they're living the dream, and maybe they can move forward and take them somewhere.
Mm-hmm. So, like, if anybody else would want to like just touch base with you more about your program, get to know more about Goretti, like, what's the best way to get in contact with you to do that?
They can email me at dgsole, dgsole, at myactv.net, or if they want to give me a call, 301-988-0723. Love to talk the game. I have, in my position, I probably have missed the boat, and I look around and see a lot of other people making a lot of money off of instruction. I limit what I do, and I try to do it free. And I know that's going to be careful saying that because you'll get a lot of phone calls, but it's given to me, and I'm passing it forward. I'm paying it forward. Just hoping kids can get out of their experience playing baseball that I was able to get. My grandson Kyle, he was here at the house today, and he's had all Papa's instruction to the point where I told him I go out the garage today. I said, "You swing. You coming out?" I said, "Nope." I said, "You got to figure it out." he struggled a little bit last summer. He just he hasn't overcome that fear to swing and hit. And I said, Kyle, you know where your feet have to be, you know where your hands have to be, you know where your head has to be, you know how you load, launch, and extend and finish. Go out and figure it out. And he came back 45 minutes later. Papa, I had a good workout. So that was fun to see him be able to do that too. So,
That's good.
You got to find it. You got to find it.
We do. Like, I think, I know you said launch angle and exit velocity, but then you also brought up in a lot of small ball, and I know you believe, I guess within your offensive philosophy, you talk about quality at bats, you talked about boom line drives, hitting the ball hard. You also play a very small ball as well. You love you're also offensive philosophy. You want to touch base about that at all?
Well, we love the bunt. We love the first and third situations. We work hard. We try to score players as to what to look for. I've had success with that at South, and it's part of what we do at Goretti. We do another thing that is just, I guess, kind of one of my hidden secrets. We when we're not real talented at the 6, 7, 8, 9 position, we'll pinch the plate and take a strike. Our batters will go up, our toes will be on that line along the home plate, our elbows will be hanging over the plate. Hopefully that pitcher will look in there and go, I don't want to hit him. And my kids will go, Coach, do you want me to pinch the plate and take a strike? Do you want me to pinch? Because they've seen it work. And in today's day and age of pitch counts, if you get your 6, 7, 8, 9 people dedicated to pinch the plate and take a strike, you run that pitch count out. And one of the boys one year, and Chris Martin had a tremendous career for us. 40 hits his senior year, I think almost 120 hits his career. Coach, do you make Chris pinch the plate and take a strike? I said, no, he can go up and hack at everything he wants to swing at. But
know your players.
You got to know your players, and they've got to realize we adapt to their skills. But it's neat watching them, especially this pinch the plate and take a strike. And we I've done that with weaker teams. When you have kids that hit, you let them hit. You don't pinch the plate and take a strike. But you get down to 6th or 7th inning, you need a base runner to start the inning. It doesn't hurt to pinch the plate, take a strike.
That's right.
That's where a good pitcher will look and say, oh, he's hanging over the plate. And if he's been well coached, he's going to buzz that batter back. But you'd be surprised it hasn't been taught.
No, not nowadays. You can't hardly get in there. Certain players. But
yeah, we play small ball. We try to hit the ball hard. And I'm not so much as a hitting coach at this point that I think our kids are skilled to be able to hit behind runners and do this and that with the bat. We just, we're working on hand-eye coordination at our talent level we have. Just work on hand-eye coordination and hit the ball hard. And that's why at Goretti with the 252 sign down the right field line, you would think there'd be a lot of home runs. Where do most high school kids hit the ball? They're trained to hit the ball up the middle. And very rare, maybe 1 in 7 years have I seen a home run that have been towards the scoreboard at the 252 sign. They just kind of a unique little field with its dimensions and corners and curves. But small ball is a part of what we do.
Yeah, well, it's about scoring runs, about creating offense. Like you do it with the defense. I think when you again, just being a good teacher, you hit the nail on the head of if your guy can swing it, you let it swing it. But if we need to put a bunt down, we put a bunt down. Like it's I think you do what's the game asks you to do and what the player's capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're being a great teacher, you can certainly see that as well. So,
thank you.
Coach, so, any final thoughts before you start wrapping up? We're here about an hour into it already. Any final thoughts? You want to go in wrapping this thing up?
Well, I appreciate what you do in the county. Thank you for allowing me to be a guest on your podcast. I'm honored with all the other names that I've seen listed. Like I said, I'm just a little local that loves baseball, trying to give it back, and appreciate being able to share some of the insights we have at Goretti and South High and what has been my success. And I just hope and pray we get COVID under control and play in 2021.
Yeah, I hope so too. But yeah, I appreciate, like I said, it's good to have mentors like yourself, Coach Krieger, Mr. Warren Feltz, those are big mentors of mine, so, it's great that I just try to live up to those kind of standards as well. So we've got some big shoes to fill from my age and our generation. So appreciate
you're well
your help.
ahead of where we were at the same age.
But it's been an absolute pleasure, Coach, and I'm glad that we were able to finally touch base and get this thing done for sure.
Absolutely.
Coach Craig Eversole from St. Mary Goretti High School in Hagerstown, Maryland, giving us some great knowledge about culture, talking about, you can just hear his passion, love to teach, being a teacher first, and being able to just give his guys a great experience. You can just see the progression of a culture to where now even giving kids as many opportunities as they can without even having to fundraise and then being able to have the right people in your program to be able to get to that. And that's about building a program. That's a culture, where all of a sudden now you've got people supporting you, things that the kids don't even need to purchase. You're not having to charge families to try to do the things that that are the best things for your program. I love to hear a guy. It's always even as a teacher, hear people teaching for 30 years and they're still willing to learn new things, go to trainings, ask themselves what do they need to do differently, how can I make myself better. These are the traits. So it's just amazing that you've got people that have dedicated their life to it, still asking themselves, how can I get better? How can I make these things better? These are the same exact questions we all should be asking ourselves every single day. This is what we do. This is how we get better. We aren't finished product. We are imperfect. We are not perfect beings. Stop treating people like they are perfect beings, and enjoy those things. So I love those things. How can I do things differently? That was a question he talked about, as well as what can I do to make our program better. So again, if you need to reach out to Coach Eversole, like to hear more about the St. Mary Goretti program, by all means, email him at dgsole, SOLE, dgsole at myactv.net. That's his email address, and he gave out his cell phone number there at 301-988-0723. So, again, thanks to Coach Eversole. Great talking to you. Great to get a little insight into the Goretti program and seeing where it's come, as well as, looking back at the, great career that he had at South Hagerstown High School as well. So, a lot of great lessons learned. A lot of great lessons learned for sure. So, thanks again for tuning in. Really appreciate those people who continue to reach out and continue to listen week in and week out. And hopefully that we're continuing to provide some great conversation with the people to allow it to help grow the game, to help people get better. So until next week, keep getting better.